everyone, and welcome back to episode number 18 of Pureblu Spotlight. And for those who are joining us for the first time, Manish and me are the founders of Pureblu, and Spotlight is a 30-minute session held every month where we would like to share our thoughts on the three guiding pillars at Pureblu called RAP. That's reliability, accountability, and productivity. Hi, Manish, how are you doing?
Very good, Jeet. How are you doing? This is episode 18. That means what? A year and a half we've been doing this show consistently every month.
Absolutely, man. And for some of you guys who are joining us for the first time, at Pureblu, we have two product lines. Our SaaS platform, which is an easy-to-use software for air conditioning service providers to manage their services, field resources, their trouble tickets, and the life cycle of the air conditioning and refrigeration systems. Our second product line, the more popular one, is the Smart AMC, where multi-city location customers, like banks, restaurants, hotels, hospitals, with all kinds of brands of air conditioning systems are managed as a one-stop solution under an annual maintenance contract, which also gives you a free IoT device. And this device sends you daily reports on your energy consumption. And please note, about 70% of your energy consumption in any place is all about air conditioners. And a well-maintained air conditioning system can save up to 20% of your energy consumption. So today, there are two IoT devices that we have built, and we have some fantastic learnings. Now, you might wonder that, with the IoT device, you find a problem, and then you need to spend more money. But today we're going to talk about what you learn from them, and without spending a dime, how you can save energy, or for that matter, improve the air quality. So Manish, let's get started with you. For most of our viewers who are probably not so familiar, what is IoT and how is that IoT space changing the world around, especially for air conditioning systems?
Right. We have talked about IoT devices several times, on the previous 17 episodes. But this one is more about the behavioral changes. So before we get to behavioral changes, let's just quickly talk about IoT. So when we talk about IoT, it really stands for Internet of Things. And what that means is you're taking some device and sticking it in the real world, and then you're analyzing the environment around that device, and then sending that data to a backend or a cloud server, let's say like Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, or a Google Cloud Platform. So that's typically what IoT means. It's a way of capturing what's happening in the real world, and then you send it to a platform to analyze it. So what's interesting, though, is, it's very easy to say, hey, we have this IoT device, and just give it to people. And if you go on to Amazon right now, whether it's Amazon.com or Amazon.in, and you type in IoT, you'll see a lot of devices. The difference, though, what we've realized is it's just not having the device, it's being able to do something with that information. If you just get the device and it keeps on telling you the number is 55, 55, 55, 55, one day it's 65, and you don't do anything, that means nothing. And I think that's what ends up happening with people when they get these devices. They feel like, this thing is telling us stuff, but I don't know what to do. I have no idea. I don't know what 95.4 is or what is 207. Is my life in danger? Is it not? So that's really what we're trying to talk about in this episode, is some of the behavioral changes. Whereas I can talk about technology all day long. And that's one of the things I always do with Ajit, is we talk tech, and he's always like, what? That's great, but we need to educate the consumer, and we need to give them something actionable, something that they can do, something they can respond to. And that really is what we're going to talk about. So IoT, in a nutshell, is Internet of Things, and that's what we want to discuss today.
Amazing stuff, man. So let's tell our viewers today on the two IoT devices that we have built. Of course, one is the smart energy meter, and then the other is the indoor air quality meter. So let's take up with one at a time what it is all about. And you led both these initiatives.
Right.
So let's share that.
So, as we said, we have talked about the Wi-Fi energy meter before, but really the whole idea of this was, everyone gets an electric bill at the end of the month, or, every 30 days they get a bill. But the problem is, you get that after 30 days. And so you don't even really know the energy usage. It happens all the time. You might have the geyser on, or you may have the washing machine or dryer on. You may be doing it all day. You don't really know how much energy is being consumed. So what we decided to do was we decided to create an energy meter that looks at it and then sends a report on a daily basis. And that's really part of the behavioral change, was just to get something on a daily basis. Because when you get it on a daily basis, then you kind of know what to do. So I'll have, Ajit take a look at the reports in a bit, but that's the first device we did. But just by sending the report, that was not enough. There was another tweak that Ajit will talk about. That single tweak changed everything and changed the dynamics of getting the report every day. So one is the energy meter, and that connects via Wi-Fi. So you have a home Wi-Fi, you have an office Wi-Fi, it connects to Wi-Fi, and then it sends all the data to the cloud platform, our backend, and it's sending the data every 5 minutes, and then we aggregate all the data into chunks of 1 hour, so you know on an hourly basis how much energy is being consumed. So that's device number one. And then as we started, rolling out this device, people were like, yeah, this is great, thanks so much. Then, what happened was, unfortunately, in the last 2 to 3 months, I would say probably the beginning of the year, all of January in Bombay, the weather was really bad as far as air quality. I've never seen it so bad in Bombay. And people always say, "Oh, that's a problem that happens in Delhi." That's nothing I need to be worried about, because I'm in Bombay. We get the ocean breeze, and it's never bad. But actually, on the day of the Mumbai Half Marathon, the weather was chilly, but the weather quality was really bad. And that's when people started saying, "Hey, you've got an energy meter, but what about air quality? How do I measure AQI? What are the AQI levels? What does that even mean? Is there something I can, do in my house?" So then that's when we kind of got together and we put our heads together and said, hey, why don't we launch an air quality device that we can stick in the house or your office or large building, and then that gives you some indication of what's happening. And again, it's very easy for me from a tech perspective to just throw a device in someone's house and then run away, but the problem is you need to make that more human for that. So do you just send them, a string of data like, hey, these are your hourly numbers, 10, 15, 35, 85, 95. It's almost like you're playing bingo or tombola. It doesn't mean anything. You need to put that together. So that's the second device. And I got to tell you, we kind of thought about it in December, and then all of a sudden it went crazy in January, and we're still getting a lot of people saying, I want that, because I think now it's in that it's kind of ingrained into people that, this may come and go, the bad air quality. So let's start monitoring it, and having an app on your phone is not enough. I want to know, what is it actually like in my own area where I am? AQI levels in, let's say, BKC or Worley or Nutman Point are one thing, but what about my actual house? So those are the two devices. And then the air quality device, we actually decided, let's focus on, newer technology. So it actually connects to the 4G network, and then it sends all of the data to our backend cloud. So those are the two devices. And, one of the things we can now do is I'll have Ajit really talk about, the smart meter, and what are some things that we learned from it, and what are the tweaks that we did to that smart meter to really see people take up and appreciate getting that report. Because before, when that report came on a daily basis, people were almost like, this is spam, what are you doing? But now it's almost gamified. So Ajit, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, in fact, the smart meter has now been used for close to over a year now. A lot of customers who are using it. In fact, if one of their Wi-Fi's just don't work one day and the report doesn't come, you immediately get a message, hey, I didn't get the report today. What happened? They don't see whether their Wi-Fi was working or no, but the report didn't come. And it's because people are monitoring. And often if you see all IoT manufacturers, they're actually sending you an alert, and then you need to figure out an action. And usually the action is, you need to fix the problem with another equipment or something of that sort. But here's the biggest learning that we've had using these IoT devices with air conditioning services. You don't need to spend more money. It actually pushes you or nudges you for a change. And this is a big takeaway. We never thought this would happen, but this is a big takeaway. For example, the smart meter. When Manish was talking about the smart meter sends out a report like this, right? So it sends you a report which takes you through the entire 24 hours, how the energy consumption was. And here it is. The biggest change that came in was we put the rupee value into it. It was just not in kilowatts. It was just a rupee value that, hey, listen, you spent about 246 rupees. And you also gave a comparison in terms of 2 hours, right? And compared to the same day, same time last week. So this was in the last week. The red is which was the last week, and the blue is this week. So you can see a pattern that is coming in, and every day you're actually seeing this information. It comes to you every day in the morning, and this tells you how's your energy consumption happening. Now, here's what has happened in most offices or hotels where these devices have been installed. It tells you the energy consumption of the entire premises, and these companies have now sending this information to all their employees. All of their employees get this email on a daily basis. Now, the biggest learning that we've had is when people receive these emails, they want to do something about it. And you'll be surprised that most of them voluntarily now control air conditioning. They want to keep it at 24 degrees. They want to make sure these air conditioners switched off during the lunchtime. The lights go off, and over the period, we have seen close to about 10 to 15% of energy reduction in these premises with zero investments. Nothing invested, no equipment, no changing of equipments, nothing. Purely a behavioral change. Now, that's a huge learning. And here's a big takeaway: people want to save energy. There is a natural instinct that they want to save, even if they are not the direct beneficiaries. There is a level of feeling that, listen, we should not be wasting it. The problem that we addressed is, I don't know how to do it. And that's what this report has done. Every day when I get the report, I know what is happening. I know it cost my company 300 rupees. If I could bring it down by a few rupees, why should I not be part of it? And it's amazing, and we have seen it across the board, that this simple smart meter, which comes free with your air conditioning services, they have been just able to save energy by almost close to about 10 to 15% by initiating a simple behavioral change. That is information that can bring about a change. And I think that's been a huge, I had one customer who called up and he told me, Manish, dude, I think I got a return on investment of my AMC cost. Forget about just having covered the repair cost, but my energy bill saved itself has kind of brought down my AMC cost. And I said that was a great observation from his side. Of course, he's a very large customer, multiple locations across the places. He keeps a tab on it. Every day he wants to know his retail outlet, what is the energy consumption. They've got multiple retail outlets across the country, and he wants to keep a tab on what's happening. His staff at the retail outlet, everybody gets this message on a daily basis, and he gets to know about it on a daily basis. So it's a point of discussion. And mind you, if you are able to save about 10-15% of your energy bills, that's direct saving. It's saving because that's the biggest expense that you have in any premises, and that's a huge amount of saving. So I think that was a huge learning, a big behavioral change. And then that also got us motivated that, how can you build devices which can nudge people to bring about a change, which can motivate people to bring about a change. And the impact is very big. And I guess that's the big thing that happened with the smart AMC, and it's been a huge hit with everybody. And at Pureblu, we give it free. We don't sell IoT devices. We actually give it free to you. We give it free. You just give us the air conditioning services and maintenance. We are the company which gives single air conditioning services for across India. We are a platform which has aggregated service providers across the country, and we give you that device free for all your locations. And bingo, every day in the morning you get this report, and you can start saving energy. And I think that's the big behavioral change that we have seen with the smart device on energy monitoring. And I guess Manish, you've been also using it at home, right? And how's it been doing it for you?
No, it's very good. So I think the biggest thing is, like you said, we always talk about technology, but the truth is there is some behavior that needs to be associated with it. And I think just by putting that rupee amount, I remember we first would get those reports, we'd send it out, but the minute we put a rupee amount, it almost became a game. Then people are like, hey, do I really need to keep the light on when I'm not in the bathroom? No, let me just turn it off. Let's see if we can bring that, that rupee amount down. And that's the whole thing. And I think that's a big change. So that's on the smart meter. So tell us, once we, launch the air quality monitor, tell us, what are the things that you had in your mind, and as a team, on how to kind of bring that gamification also to the air quality meter as well?
That air quality meter, honestly, I never thought that it would have such a big impact as that of a smart meter. Because you know what, people don't know about air quality index, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the air quality index itself is not so well defined. It has got so many parameters that go into it. I wasn't I wasn't sure that it would make a big impact. It was a little bit of a surprise, and it made a bbig and that's how it is. We said, okay, let's build it, man, because everyone in the city was talking about it. So we said, yeah, let's build it. But I'll tell you, it just became the most super duper kind of a device. So how does that air quality device? Now I want to actually show you a live example. Okay, and this is my own study. While it's happening to so many other people, this is my own study in my house when we were studying, when we were doing building this device. So this was the first report. If you see in a month before, we said what goes into an indoor air quality are dust and carbon dioxide. All right. So dust is measured in PM 2.5 and PM 10, 2.5 and 10 micron levels. 2.5 is really, really small. 10 to a certain extent of filtration, but 2.5 is really, really small. And they all cause respiratory diseases. And CO2 is, of course, we all exhale carbon dioxide, and that's what gives you, brings in inefficiency in the offices. If your CO2 levels go up, your productivity drops, you start getting headaches, feel very tired by the end of the evening. Now, this was a month ago. Now, if you look at it, we put it as simple traffic signals. There are numbers given, but very difficult to understand numbers. We said red, orange, green. Now, if you look at a month ago, this is what it was. 24 hours, the 2.5 level dust levels were actually bad. PM10 was also bad for some time. And then the CO2 levels were green, and then there was also orange. So overall, the air quality wasn't great. Now, typically, when you see this, what is the next thing that you want to do? Okay, let's bring in an air purifier, which can fix this problem. We didn't do that. Okay, and before I tell you what we did, this is the report which I got in yesterday. Right? This is for the same place, exactly the same thing. No investments in any equipments, nothing. Look at it. It's all green or orange, and then there is some red portion on the 2.5. How did this happen? And I want to actually share this to you how we did it. So one of the biggest learnings that we had is this play between dust and carbon dioxide, right? So carbon in a closed environment, when your house or your cabin or your office, which is closed, or in an air conditioned environment, over a period of time, this carbon dioxide levels keep going up, CO2 levels going up, and you need to control that. How do you control that? You have to bring in fresh air. How do you bring in fresh air? You open your windows and doors. But along with fresh air comes dust. That is PM 2.5 and PM 10. So here's your biggest learning. Every time you control CO2 levels, your dust levels go up. Okay, so it's very difficult to actually match these two things together. Either CO2 levels are going up or the dust levels are going up. So now, I never knew about these things. Though I'm in this business for so many years, I never knew about these things till I started getting these reports on a daily basis. And I just couldn't control this. So I kept all the windows open. My CO2 levels were green all through and through. But my dust levels, 2.5 and 10 level, went completely haywire, was red. And I said, how do I strike a balance? So I said, hey, listen, we need to approach this a little differently. How do I make sure the air quality is at its best when I'm using that space? Because I'm not using that space for 24 hours, right? How do I use that? And CO2 levels can be replenished at a much faster level. You open your windows for some time, what you call in air conditioning or ventilation terms, the number of air cycle changes that you make. You open it up for some time, and you can actually understand that the CO2 levels can be replenished very fast. And that's what happened. I realized when I should open the window, for how long I should open the window. And that's all what I did. I didn't buy any purifiers, nothing. I just made sure when I leave the house in the morning, all right, after I'm out, the windows go open just for about maybe an hour or two. And then it is again shut down. In the evening, my room gets cleaned up, and that's it. I get full, great quality air And I'm saying this so confidently because across where I stay, there's enough construction happening. And it's not only in my house. Anybody who lives in Bombay is next to a construction site as of now, because the entire city is under construction, which means the dust levels are very, very high. And I've been able to control it without any air purifiers, without anything. Just a pure behavioral change. Could I have done it earlier? No, I couldn't have done it earlier. I started getting into it only after I started receiving that report. And every time I started getting the report, I started thinking, like how Manish was saying, it's like a game. I kind of said that. I said, I'm going to get this green, and there is a way to do it. All you have to now the house now everybody in the house knows that how do I change. Similarly, in the office, we have decided how many times do you want the ventilation system on and how many times do you want it off. And why I'm saying this is important is because one of the learnings that we've had from various hotels, the key result area of a engineer at a hotel is energy bills. Okay, and every time he starts the ventilation system, his energy bills go up. To maintain the indoor air quality, he has to start the ventilation. But when he starts the ventilation, the air conditioning also goes up, because you're bringing in fresh air at 35 degrees into a room which is 24 degrees. You know what most of these guys do? They just keep the ventilation system down. They just shut it. And as a user, you will never even realize whether it is on or no. So you must be paying 8,000 to 10,000 rupees per room to live in a very contaminated area, and you would never figure it out. And this is now big opportunity. Now you know exactly when to keep it on, for how long to keep it on, and when to shut it. And that will make sure optimum utilization of the energy while you give a better indoor air quality, and you make sure your customers get the best environment. And I think that's the big takeaway that we've had, with a simple device, as to how we have brought a behavioral change, both in terms of smart meters and in terms of energy saving, as well as in terms of air quality monitoring. So I guess these are the two big things which we've actually brought to our customers, and it's making a huge impact. And these two devices, while everyone is trying to sell a device, monetize it, and then sell more equipments around it, I think we've been able to bring about a behavioral change, which is not only saving energy, but which is also improving the air quality. So I think we're going to continue in this space in a big way. And Manish, I want you to actually share as to where are we going ahead from? What are the big possibilities that we are discussing internally with what we call as the IoT, AIs, ML, and so many things that are coming in. So what is it that is being discussed, and where Pureblu will go from here onwards?
No, I'll definitely get to that. But real quick, I wanted to kind of just jump back real quick to that report we talked about, the air quality. And I think the thing about this report that really sets it apart is, if we didn't have any traffic signal, if we didn't have any red, yellow, green, nothing, and it was just numbers, 38, 25, 92, I don't think you would have that same level. The truth is, you might have, because you would have been looking at it. But now, if you give this report to anyone in your family, they will quickly know, hey, why is this yellow? Why is this red? And I think that's the whole basics of it. And that's one of the things we're understanding with these IoT devices. One is on the technology side, but like I said, the behavioral change, that's usually what they call through user experience, the user interface, that has to be very different. And I think with this report, we really nailed it, because everyone I show this report to understands very quickly. If you didn't tell anybody what this report was about, and you can ask someone, hey, which report do you think is good or bad? And they would be able to tell you in an instant, hey, green means good, red means bad. And I think that's the big thing around behavioral changes that we've really nailed with this report. And then the energy meter report, really around, just putting in that rupee cost for, how much does each kilowatt hour cost? And that's a big thing, So anyways, that was something I just wanted to share, that I thought, we want to make sure we really focus on, because it's just not giving the technology. I could do that all day long, but it's really, how does the end consumer really benefit from it? So, one of the questions you asked right now was, what's the future? What are we going to do? So I look at this IoT in what I call a three-phase manner, and one is around the aggregation of the data. The second is the analytics of the data, and then the third is the action. So aggregation is really getting all of that data from the sensors in the real world and then having all that data being sent up to the cloud. And then once it's in the cloud, then what do you do? How do you run artificial intelligence? How do you run machine learning? And of course, for the last 1 month, everyone has been hearing about AI over one single thing, and that is Chat GPT. So Chat GPT actually takes in a lot of data, and that's how all these different responses are coming out so amazing, is because Chat GPT is taking all that data. So the same thing we want to do is we want to take in all that data, and then once we get that data, we want to, instead of just showing people a dashboard or just saying, hey, your number is 47, we actually want to give them something actionable, and that's really what we're focusing on at Pureblu, is that entire actionable part. So of course you will have some dashboards for, let's say, the management, or even at a home. Imagine you have a screen that just kind of shows you the traffic signal of your air quality, your energy meter. At least in real time what's happening. But really the whole purpose is you want to do something where either you have a notification where a technician may come. So let's say that your energy meter is, the costs are really going out of control. Then we can actually have someone come to your, office or your home and say, hey, we think something's wrong with one of your air conditioning units. Let's take a look at it. That's one. One could be a customer service call saying, hey, is everything okay? We've noticed that your air quality has been red for the last 10 days. Are you okay? Is there anything you want to do? Oh, no one's at home. Okay, we understand. So that is the whole purpose of it, is the action. And that really is coming from the artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning. It's really doing something with all the data. And people have been asking me, is like, Manish, why are we talking about artificial intelligence today? Didn't this something 10 years ago? Wasn't this something 30 years ago? And the truth of the matter is yes. But the difference is, because of the speed of processing, what they call GPUs, general processing units, those have gotten so much faster and so much cheaper. So now you can literally have a supercomputer analyze the data, versus before, 20 years ago, to get a supercomputer, you had to be like a NASA, you had to be a big company. And now all those capabilities are coming down to even the average company. Any startup such as Pureblu, we can actually have access to it. So we can crunch lots of data and come up with something actionable. And that's really what we see the future is all about. As I say, aggregation, analytics, and action. And for me, that's what I call the AAA architecture. But more than anything, and that action is really what we saw around the behavioral reports for the energy meter and for the air quality. And everything is different. So for us, it was around putting the rupee amount on the air quality, is around, putting the traffic signal. In the future, and maybe if you live in a, let's say let's say you live in a building society with, let's say, 100 flats, maybe you compare your flat versus the other 99 flats and kind of see, so if you look at, maybe there are 20 flats that are the same configuration as you, they're all of them are 1,400 square feet. Then you're comparing like to like. Then you can say, hey, why is this guy, his air conditioning or his overall energy consumption is much less than mine? And then that's the whole gamification. And that's really what we want to bring to at Pureblu in the future.
Yeah, and that's information is power. I mean, if you can actually send that information out, you can push for a behavioral change, and that has a big impact. And that's what we've been seeing it. Everybody wants to make a contribution. Everybody wants to make a change towards sustainability, but none of us know how to do it. And I think at Pureblu, we've been able to demonstrate that, just nudging and giving just about information that is necessary can bring about that change. So super excited. Actually, we're going to keep exploring this space more often, and we'll keep you updated on the things that we're doing at Pureblu. So that's about the time, Manish, we've had just to share this big experience that we've had over the last 1.5 years with Pureblu IoT.
Sounds good. No, it was great. I'm really hoping that, people got benefit from it. But, the funny thing is that air quality, actually, that was, people have been requesting things from us. So, we'd like to hear more from the audience, from, people in the field, like what are the next type of IoT devices they want to see, because that's what the whole purpose of it is. We want to listen to what's happening in the field and sort of, somehow we can productize it and, deploy it out into the field. And we're very open to working with other people and, getting it going.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we'll bring you some of the best stuff around. And before we wind up, if you are a service provider of air conditioning service provider, then remember we have a brilliant SaaS platform, which is now being used by many, many companies, including outside India. So call us on these numbers and we'll be happy to give you a demo and see how your entire services operation can be transformed. But you use an air conditioner, and if you're a company that has multi-locationals, different kinds of brands of air conditioners, and want to have the benefits of these IoT devices, call us the number on the screen and our team will get in touch with you and we're happy to sign you on board for the Smart AMC program. So thank you very much. And we're going to see you next month with another interesting topic. So do write to us like often and tell us what you would like to hear from us, and we'll be happy to share. So thank you very much. Thanks a lot, Manish.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Ajit. Thanks to the audience. Take care till next time. See you.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Bye. See you.